Okay, so you're obviously watching this video if you want to learn how to kneeboard, and I'm here to teach you. So we're going to start right from the basics and we're working our way up. So if you're already advanced, you can probably skip over the next couple of minutes. First of all, step one, your equipment. Now, obviously enough, the first step would be the board. Number one, you want to get a thin board. I have a 2011 Agent here. Now, based on if you have any back problems, you're going to want to go with the Agent because it has the groove right down the middle to break the surface tension for when you jump. Maybe it might be kind of hard to see, but that is very important. The width of the board will help you soften your landing, so that's something to think about. All the other dimensions of the board are personal preference, which we'll get to later. The strap. You want the strap to be in a good position, not too far up on your knees, but you want it to be right about your hip. Or your thigh. Definitely thigh. Also, once you start getting in the air, you're probably going to want a helmet because it'll break the surface tension, and you probably won't end up getting us screwed up. It's a good idea. Okay, now on to the tricks. So first of all, starting with getting up, you want to keep your elbows in the knee sockets. And then once the boat starts to pull you, pull your knees up to about here, pull the strap over your knees, and scoot your knees up into the knee sockets. Also, when you're getting up, if the front starts to bounce up and down, either put more weight forward or put a hand there to steady the board. Putting weight forward will stop the bouncing. Basically what you do is you want to learn how to turn your bottom half of your body without turning your top half back and forth. And eventually get to the point where you can let go with one hand and twist. Now, when you start to twist, meet the handle right at your hip and grab it with the other hand and you should whip around. Vice versa, also you do the same thing for the 360. Just meet your hand at your head and just keep spinning. The 180 is fun. If you can go backwards, you can just mess around a little bit backwards and also just flip forward. And with the 360, you can go outside the wake, as you'll see in this clip. You can go around twice or three times while you're going into the wake, and then hit the wake and get air. Now, the next trick is the stall. When you're going outside the wake, you always want to stop just a little bit to get the tension in the rope for when you cut towards the wake to get air. Now, the stall, you start off with about the same thing as the 180. You let go with one hand, and you turn your board perpendicular to the boat. It's 90 degrees. And at that point, you'll stall. You just won't move closer to the wake, but the rope will tighten up, and then that's when you can throw your shoulder in and start to cut towards the wake. Here's the advanced section. This is how you're going to get air. What you want to do is you want to find out which way you're best at cutting, either to your right or to your left. Depending on that, fill that side of the boat with either ballast or fat people, basically. You can go outside the wake as far as you can, and then pull a stall about 90 degrees, and then look at the wake and throw your shoulder in and cut really hard into the wake. The longer you cut before you turn out to hit the wake, the higher and the further you will go. And basically this is mostly experimentation. Landing in the wash is ideal. If you land on top of the wake, it'll probably hurt your first time. Okay, now we're going to get to doing tricks in the air. We're going to start with the one that most people like to do, which is called the aerial 360. Make sure you do not do the trick right off the wake. Just hit the wake as you did before, getting lots of air. But make sure you don't do the 360 right off the wake. Make sure you hit for a couple seconds and make sure you're in the air first before you initiate the spin. So when you initiate the spin, turn your board the wrong way so that you can catch the rope with your hand, then whip yourself around via the rope, meet it at your hip as before, because it's hard to find it in the air. Then when you bring it around, you'll have just enough time to stick your landing and find where you're going to land. Now when you do the scorpion, it's commonly when you're facing the boat, but your board is like this while you're in the air. It's almost completely vertical. You hit the wake, you want to force your knees down to have the board go perpendicular, and make sure you arch your back so that when you need to bring the board back up, all you have to do is lean back and the board will shoot back up and you can land. That's about it. Okay, now we're going to move on to grabs. Now for the nose grab, what you want to do is you want to get air, and you don't want to do about the opposite of the scorpion. You want to lean back, but keep your knees with your body so you bring the board forward, so it should be almost completely vertical to the boat. You should be able to see the underside like this. Now at that point, you want to let go with one hand and grab the front. Do not want to hit the wake holding one hand. Hold it with two hands, and once you get the air, only then should you let go. Landing with one hand or two hands is personal preference. When you want to have a side grab, you want to get air, but once you get the pop, lean whichever way you want to grab and let go with the hand. Again, hit the wake with two hands, landing with one or two, personal preference. Okay, so standing up is a trick that will not look all that impressive, but with the trick we're going to show you later, it can be quite entertaining trick. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start off getting up on the kneeboard, and then once you're up, you're gonna take your strap and you're gonna loosen it. You're gonna throw it underneath your legs. Okay, and now you're holding the rope like this. Put your hand on the side of the kneeboard to steady yourself, and pop your leg forward. Now you're gonna put your other thing like that. You're just gonna scoot your butt forward a little bit, and then bring your leg around so you're sitting on the board. Remember, if you start to bounce, put your weight forward. You're gonna put your feet in the knee sockets. You're kind of scrunched up, and you're gonna use the rope to pull you up to the point where you can stand up behind the boat. A variation of this can be seen in the next clip we're gonna do, where there's another kneeboarder right beside you. You're gonna arch your knees about 90 degrees, and you tell the other kneeboarder to pull his rope in so he will be just a little bit ahead of you. At this time, you're gonna put your feet on the back of his board, and you're gonna grab his shoulders, and you're gonna ditch your board and get off of it. Then you're gonna be on the back of his board. He's gonna have to carry the weight of both of us, so you're gonna have to do this quickly. And at that said time, he's gonna grab your shoulders, get on top of him, and jump off.